Hello, this is Mark from Excel Off the Grid. In this video, we're looking at the SORTBY function. If you'd like to work along with the examples in this video, you can download the example file, and there are links and instructions in the descriptions box below. So once you've done that, if you're ready, let's get started. Before we go any further, I'd just like to remind you to subscribe and get notifications so that you don't miss any future videos. The SORTBY function was announced by Microsoft in September 2018 and is one of Excel's new dynamic array functions. SORTBY makes use of the new calculation engine, enabling a single formula to spill results into multiple cells. At that time, Microsoft introduced two sorting functions, sort and SORTBY. They are slightly different, and in this video we're going to be focusing just on SORTBY. We have a separate video that covers sort, and by comparing those two you'll understand how they can be used in different scenarios. At the time of recording this video, SORTBY is only available to those on a Microsoft 365 subscription. It will not be available in Excel 2019 or earlier versions. Okay, let's start by trying to understand what the SORTBY function does. So here we have a data table with employees and the number of units they've sold. And what we want to do is to return the list of employees sorted by the units. So here in cell E3, I'll type equals SORTBY, open bracket. I'll select the employees from B3 to B10. I'll enter a comma and then I'll select the units from C3 to C10. I'll close that bracket and press return. And as you can see, those results have now been sorted in ascending order by the number of units sold. If we were using the sort function, we would need to include the sort index column within our results returned. However, by using SORTBY, we can actually use a column outside of our range to sort our results by. Okay, now we understand at a high level what it does. Let's have a look at all the arguments of the SORTBY function. SORTBY has a variable number of arguments depending on the scenario that you've got. Two of those arguments are required while the others are optional. So there's array, by array, sort order, and then after that we can keep having a by array and a sort order in pairs as we keep increasing the number of sorts that we want to perform. So array, that is the range of cells or array of values to be returned by the function. By array, that is the range of cells or array which we want to sort the values by. Sort order, if we insert a value of 1, it means by array will be sorted in ascending order. And if we insert a -1, it means by array will be sorted in descending order. If this argument isn't used, it will automatically default to 1 to be in ascending order. Now if we want, we can keep adding additional sort ranges. So we could add by array 2, and that is the range of cells or array to sort values by after performing the first sort. And then by array 2 also has its own sort order, which would be sort order 2, and has the same 1 or -1 principle for ascending or descending values. And we could keep going. We could have a by array 3 and a sort order 3, etc., depending on our scenario. So now that we've seen how this function works at a high level and seen the arguments, we're now going to look at 6 examples so that we can really get a deep understanding of exactly how it works and how we can use it. So let's move on to example 1. Example 1 is to demonstrate that the sort column does not need to be in the array of results returned. So over here in cell G3, I'm going to type equals SORTBY, open bracket, and the first argument is the array. So for this, I'm going to select cells B3 down to D10. I'll press comma. The next argument is the by array. What are we sorting by? And I'm going to select cells E3 down to E10, press a comma, and then we have the sort order. In this example, I want to sort by descending order. So I'll put -1, and then I'll close that bracket and press return. So if we just look at those results for a moment, as we can see, the value at the top is Sally, and that's because Sally has the highest total value. And equally, if we look at the bottom, we'll find Belinda, and that's because Belinda has the lowest total value. Now, total value is not one of the columns returned, but cells E3 to E10 were used for the sort. Okay, let's move on to example 2. Example 2 demonstrates how the SORTBY function responds when linked to an Excel table. So here in cell G3, I'll type equals SORTBY, open bracket, I'll select columns employee across to average price, I'll press comma, and we're going to sort that by the total value, comma, in descending order once again. So we've now got the same results as we had from the previous example. But what we really want to demonstrate is what happens when we add additional data into our table. So I'll select these cells down here, John, and I'll drag up and I'll add this into our existing table. So watch the results section on the right, and as soon as I add that, as you can see, John has now been added. And John has a higher total value than everybody else, so he's now been added to the top of the sort. Right, now it's time for example 3. This example is to demonstrate how we can sort by multiple columns at the same time. So in cell G3, I'll enter equals SORTBY, open brackets, I'll select cells B3 to E10 again. Now in this example, I'm going to demonstrate how to sort by column C in descending order and then column B in ascending order. So we've selected our range already. Our by array is going to be column C, so cells C3 down to C10, comma, in descending order, so -1, comma, then we'll select column B, so B3 to B10, and we want that in ascending order. I'll press a 1, and then I can close that bracket and press return. So just having a look at these results, what we see is that it was sorted by column C, and we can see that result in column H. Now, Kevin, Rajesh and Tom all have a value of 4, and Belinda and Jack both have a value of 3. So if we look at the results of column G, what you see is that we have then sorted the names, which were in column B, in ascending order. So Kevin, Rajesh and Tom are in alphabetical order, as are Belinda and Jack. So in this example, we've sorted first by the units sold in descending order and then by the employee name in ascending order. Right, now time for example 4. SORTBY accepts a range or an array as the first argument. It then returns the columns in the result in the same order. But what if we want to choose a different order or only want to return a few columns? In this circumstance, we can use the choose function to select specifically which columns should be returned. So here we are in cell G3 again, and I'll type equals SORTBY, open bracket, and to create the range that we want, we're going to use the choose function, open bracket, and the first argument of the choose function is the index number. So in a constant array with curly brackets, I'll type a 1, 2, which is telling the choose function that we've got 2 columns, and the first column is going to be E3 to E10. As you can see, we have total value there at the top of our first column. And then our second column is going to be B3 to B10, which is the employee. I'll close the choose function with a bracket and then type a comma. I'm now on to the second argument of the SORTBY function. And let's sort that by units sold, comma, in descending order, so -1, and then by the employee name in ascending order. I'll close that bracket and press return. Here we've applied the same sort order as we did in example 3. So if you look at the results, you'll see that those names are in exactly the same order. However, we've demonstrated in this that we've selected the column's total value and then employee. Next, let's move on to example 5. This is here to demonstrate that dynamic array functions can be nested within each other. But when we do this, it can cause some interesting challenges. For this, we're going to combine SORTBY with the filter function. So here in cell G3, I'm going to type SORTBY, open brackets, select cell B3 to D10, put a comma, and then we'll sort by the units sold. So C3 to C10, and let's do that in ascending order, close bracket. So that's nothing different to what we've seen before. Now what happens if we put SORTBY within the filter function? So if I were to type filter, open bracket, so the first argument of the filter function is the array, and that's the values returned by our SORTBY function. So I can press a comma to then move on to the include argument of filter. And here we can just look at the values where C3 to C10 is greater than 5. Close that bracket and press return. If you look closely, you'll notice we've got a problem. The problem is that the results should all be greater than 5, but yet Tom shows a 4. This occurs because the first argument of the filter function, the array, includes results that have been sorted by the SORTBY function. But the second argument is still working on the unsorted data. So when we nest these formulas within each other, we need to make sure that we've applied the sorts to each of them. Right, so let's correct this example. Go back into cell G3. Let's edit that formula in the formula bar. So we need a second SORTBY. And we want to sort cell C3 to C10. And to sort them by C3 to C10. And we also want those in ascending order. I'll close that bracket. Then I'll press return. And now we have the results that we expect. It now shows everybody whose units are greater than 5. So this example demonstrates that we need to pay attention to the results that we get. Finally, let's move on to example 6. In this example, we're looking at how we can restrict the results of the SORTBY function to only give us the result of one specific position. So what if we only wanted to return the value of the third highest? Here in cell G3, we could use our normal SORTBY function. Open bracket, our array with the same cells as we've used throughout. B3 to D10. We can sort by C3 to C10 in, say, ascending order. So how do we get just the third result, which in this scenario is Tom? For that, we can use the index function. So let's add that in here. Index, open bracket. Now our array is the result of our SORTBY function. So I'll come to the end, press a comma, and I want the third value from the result. So I'll press 3, and I want the full array of column results. So that means I can type 0 in there in an index function to get the full range of results. And I'll press return, and there we have just the third position result of Tom. Okay, that's it for me today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and it's given you a good insight of how to use the SORTBY function. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment, and I'll catch you next time.